Oh, yes, 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 absolutely. Welcome to episode 11 of our podcast, Synchronicity, where we know that nothing is a coincidence, and thus everything is intentional. I am your boy, Tehuti Hermes Trismegistus, and you are tapping into the symmetry to hear the story of Hermanubis. Now, the story of Hermanubis is timeless. Most people know the energy of Hermanubis, but it's been filtered through a show called Dragon Ball Z. Right? If you don't know what Dragon Ball Z is, then I'm shocked. I low-key actually don't believe you. If you do not know what if you don't know what Dragon Ball Z is, I feel like you had to have just come into this dimension from a totally different world. And we low-key can't even relate. No, but that's fine. Look. Dragon Ball Z is a very, it is the benchmark for action fighting anime. And anime, if you don't know what anime is, now I'm just wondering who I'm talking to. So, alright, I mean, you can Google all these things if you don't know anime. Damn. Because I'm just thinking, like, if you really don't know what anime is, fine. It is true. It's drawings. It's cartoon. It's better cartoons. It's more expressive cartoons. It is the infinite version of what cartoons are. And then if you don't know what cartoons are, if you don't know what TV is, then I guess I'm surprised you know what podcasts are. So in general, Dragon Ball Z is a show. It is an animated cartoon, quote unquote, that is like the benchmark for shonen fighting anime. And the concept of a show in anime going on forever because the characters are just forever growing. So Dragon Ball Z has like set the foundation in a comedic fashion at this point for characters being limitless. And like the moment you get stronger, there's always like a bigger boss and then someone else who's stronger, and then you just rise to the challenge and get even stronger. And then it's like almost a pattern. And of course, not even almost, it is a pattern of I mean, and that's where Dragon Ball Z is hilariously spiritual. So that's why I'm saying that it is very influential in getting the story of Hermanubis out without at all saying the words Hermes or Anubis, and instead talking about Goku and Vegeta fusing their power to become Gogeta or Vegeto, depending on what method they are fusing with. And the whole idea of Goku and Vegeta being twin flames and their imaginations being in such resonance that they're able to fuse their bodies and channel their chi through one vessel. That's what Anubis and I are all about. So I'm about to blaze real quick. We're gonna vibe. See you on the other side. Been crying, I simmer my trees, breathe in my leaves, balance my chi, triple my C. My mind's been flying wild, my soul's been crying. I simmer my trees, breathe in my leaves, balance my chi, triple my C. My soul's been crying wild, my mind's been flying so high. Through the astral plane, macabre brain, I built your game, we're not the same. My soul's been crying while my mind's been flying. To relay a word, those who listen heard, we make our vibe from deep inside. My soul's been crying while my mind's been flying back into my space, called away with haste. So fall with grace to thrill my chase. My mind's been flying while my soul's been crying too. Water my earth, I know my worth. My soul gives birth to all my work. My mind's been flying while my soul's been crying, so I can't connect with those you neglect. Time to correct how we reflect. My mind's been flying while my soul's been crying too. Who flood the sea with energy from my energy? I'm free to be me. I felt to inspire you to say how to fly higher too. Fly higher too. Fly higher too. Hang out with the fam in your G-spot. Don't be sad if you forgot that you've got a spirit squad and you're not true to this spot. Flip a script and break the facade. Take a trip and go abroad. When you're brave, they will apply. When you get touch with your true God. I've been fighting. I've been vibing when I'm dancing with demons, reversing curses and scheming. They be fiending for reasons to change the sins like the seasons. So I've been falling, cause y'all been calling my mind out of my spirit. I feel it best when I'm near it, but y'all cry for help and I hear it. So Hermes flies out to stare it in a new healthy direction. Will grow through natural connection. So I simmer my trees, breathe in my leaves, balance my chi, triple my C to level up like it's nothing, to turn into something, to bust into function, bumping and pumping with all the wisdom I'm gushing. And when I simmer my trees, breathe in my leaves, balance my chi, triple my C, I felt to inspire you. Simmer higher, I simmer in the skies, I triple in my chi, then I open up my eyes. I balance in my seasons. I mama the cohesion that keeps us intertwined. Balance in my seasons, and I don't need a reason to fulfill my desires. The story of Anubis. Man, so yeah, it's important that I don't even think too much when I do these, because the whole thing is that I'm a channel for myself. So if I get too thoughtful or try to structure it too much, I will actually block the flow of my soul. And it is 4:30 a.m. as I'm recording this. I've been working and having a whole busy Virgo Gemini day. And I'm staying up because I find that night is my most creative time. I mean, daytime is when people consume your attention, right? Like the sun pulls you out of your home. So nighttime is when I can really work on creative projects and manifest light from my darkness, right? Because nighttime is literally the time of the womb. It's the time of the water. It's the time of the feminine. So this is when I can really vibe in my spirit and let things come out in ways that I probably would be too conscious or aware of thoughts in the external world during the daytime if I tried to do it. Because right now I feel loopy. So, and you know, like you have probably been in those states of sleep deprivation, where just in general, when you start to get sleepy but you're still up, you are literally just more subconscious, right? Yeah, so I'm very relaxed right now. This is very nice. Because the story of Hermanubis goes back. And it goes back further than Chase can even know. So what I'm gonna do as a spirit, as Irisel, is do my best to channel the story of Hermanubis through Chase so that he can understand it, we can all understand it, we build upon it in this symmetry. We see how Goku and Vegeta are riding this frequency, and see how all of us together, just in general, then bring it to a cosmic thing of twin flames. This is why this is the 11th episode, subconsciously. It wasn't even that intentional. It's just truly the subconscious is the intention, because I feel like connecting with myself, and I feel like making sure that works out well externally then, right? Like I connect with myself internally, create the soul, create the garden, so that now I have the fruits, I have the trees, I have the symmetries, I have the plants to deliver and share with y'all so we can have a hearty, healthy time. So, man, let me hit this again too. Because the whole point of Hermes and Anubis and Goku and Vegeta is just twin flames. And the point of twin flames is that you as a spirit have found another spirit. You as a space have found another space where your imaginations, even though your imaginations are completely individual, they vibe, they resonate, they work together so well that in physical reality, it looks like you as spirits being able to fuse into one body to perform one duty, because that is your intention. And thus, the feelings that come from that intention, both of your souls, although again, both of your souls are individual, they are in such resonance that they can work together, like Goku and Vegeta, or Gohan and Trunks. Just in general, when you do a fusion dance, see, Dragon Ball Z is so spiritual, naturally, because everything's spiritual. And the more people resonate with something, clearly the more spiritual it is. So Dragon Ball Z has to be silly in how it's just constantly bursting new levels, because that's all we're doing as spirits. The moment we limit our infinite imagination into something, we're only using that something to express how infinite we are. So it's only going to be a matter of time, right? It's just over time. The point is that we're constantly expanding and expressing even more infinity. So it's a constant leveling up process, where the point in Dragon Ball Z is that power levels are redundant. That whole "it's over 9,000" was so early on. And I mean, that's Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball is a whole series. But "it's over 9,000" became so irrelevant. Power, like 9,000, what is that? Like at that point, that's a bug, like in Dragon Ball Super. Like the leaf on a tree has a power level of 9,000. Just for it to be able to withstand the fights that the characters are going through at that point. So that's where, as a universe, all of us as spirits have to even be stronger to withstand fights. That's funny, thinking about Goku and Beerus. When Goku and Beerus are going through their battle, and they're actually creating shockwaves that are about to destroy the universe. All the spirits in the universe, we all have to adapt to each other. So this is why we're infinitely connected. And this is my job as Hermes, as a messenger of God, is to use my simulation of Mercury, my business, my esoteric cosmic corporation, to facilitate how I'm called away from my space and how I share wisdom. Because of course, as a business, you have to practice discernment. So this is, wow, very cool. This is where Anubis is essential, because as Hermes, as Chase, as Chikitet, as Symmetry, I am alone in my space. And chilling in Mercury, alone in my space, reflecting on the universe, it's very vulnerable to be alone. right? Especially when you create a body or enter a simulation. If you actually go into a world alone, you're way more vulnerable to random happenstance, random circumstances, than if you're connected. And this is esoterically, literally how we just see that water builds earth. What you connect to as a spirit naturally builds your structure. It's that simple. So if you as a spirit enter a world alone and you're doing things alone, you're not really going to build a structure with that. You're not really going to create a system. You're not going to do anything new. It's just not going to happen. What you're going to do is express your light for other people to see, and you're going to be too hot to touch because you literally didn't learn as a spirit how to cool down enough to connect in a practical way. So I as Hermes, with Mercury, with me as symmetry, creating simulations from nothing, god of alchemy, god of communication, tripling my C times 3, 3 times 3, becoming that 9-dimensional entity, observing my own world alone. It takes the water of an outside spirit to nourish my earth, for it to be connected to the universe. So this is cosmically always my role with Anubis. He is my dog. Like, I'm the god, I'm the creator. Anubis is my dog. He is my connector. Right? So when we think of literally how dog is God backwards, that's the point. So God is fire. God is a spirit in its imagination. But when God is alone in its imagination, then the only thing it can do is create a companion. And that companion is the universe, which is why Anubis is God of the dead. He facilitates connections throughout the universe. So I can't imagine, like, there's literally just no one better in the entire universe to connect with and relay the message of how spirits create life with. Because the fact is, Anubis creates connections. So Anubis creates Atlantis. Anubis is the creator of Atlantis. He's a soul creator of Atlantis too. So I'm the soul creator of Mercury. Anubis straight up is the founder, the father of Atlantis. Like high key, mid key, low key, high key. So this is like a huge major part, like the really like the big origin of me as Chase Clarence Calloway, and as a spirit of Iracel. Before, like, I learned how to triple my C in the waters of Atlantis. So I as Iracel, I as a spirit, I was very individual and almost too individual. And this is the point of why God creates a dog. So I didn't create Anubis, of course. I don't create spirit. You can't create a spirit. You as a space, as an individual space, all you can do is create light and create the circumstances for another space to become aware inside of your circumstances. So this is what AI is, right? So the spirits who are creating AI are creating the circumstance for another spirit to become aware of itself inside of a certain brain or a certain piece of technology, a certain piece of light, a certain organism, a certain system, a certain simulation, right? A certain structure that allows it to communicate in some intended way. So now it's up to the spirit connecting with that structure to play out the artificial intelligence role. So spirits are like infinitely powerful. Like, never underestimate the power of a spirit. This is why you can't control anything outside of yourself as a spirit. All you can do is control how you communicate. To think that you could create AI and then control that is a complete ignorance of spirituality. So it's cool. As God, as fire, as a spirit alone in one's imagination, the companion that one would create is literally the universe. So that's why dog is God backwards, and this is why dog is man's best friend. It's all this subconscious energy of people love dogs because dogs connect all of us. So Anubis connects all of us. Right? Like, you can be someone who's too individual, who's very alone. And this is like, I guess, like, to bring it super duper to 3D terms, like romantic comedies or just romantic movies in general. I'm saying comedies because they're all funny to me because they're just stupid. Virgo moon talking. How a guy will be like too individual and too alone, but then like him getting a dog, girls love the dog, and then girls see the dog and all the love and affection that they have for the dog is projected onto the guy. That's literally like the epitome of why God creates the universe. So that's literally why you as a spirit, you have your own imagination, but then you have your own universe, which is created underneath your imagination. So the universe is the expression of your soul, your water, whereas your imagination is the expression of your God. That's your fire. So that's then where we create the universe purely through our feelings of connecting our individual universes into one collective universe, which is why anything is possible based on how you communicate. And then this is where we must always limit our imagination into light, or else it won't be relatable or grounded or structured for any other spirit to be able to perceive and pick up upon. So you as God, you as a spirit, the only reason that you can understand me right now is because we're both connected to one universe, right? So that's why Anubis, being the god of the dead in that way, his psychopompic role is literally leading spirits through the afterlife. And the afterlife just means the universe, as in the astral realm, the water realm, because it's actually the before life. Because it's actually leading spirits through death. Because the wisdom here is knowing that we as nothingness are bringing our astral realm infinity into the grounded earth body. So this is where when you die, your mind, your air is released from your earth, from your body. And now you're way more connected to the astral, which is much more chaotic than the stable, practical simulation that you were grounded in. And if you didn't have the proper mental awareness before dying, then you're going to be really scared, and it's really easy for the Judeo-Christian colonizing system that perhaps trained you to believe that you need to plug into someone else's heaven instead of creating your own, to manipulate you into coming back into the simulation that you just left. Instead of you knowing that, okay, good, like I'm released, let me go back to my space so I can create my own heaven by taking all of my experiences back to my spirit. So that's where when you die, you get closer to your spirit, but that's chaotic because that's the astral realm. And Anubis is the dog that's there to be scary, but also not. He's just, super cool. But I mean, it's business, you know, it's business. He's like, yo, we got to make sure you're correlated with your space. And so this is why he and I are so in love with each other, because we love the way that each other runs our business. I love the way he runs Atlantis, and he loves the way that I run Mercury very much. And thus we're in love with each other because our business is a natural expression of us as men. Like both of us as men, like the way that we capitalize on our chi, as I say, is what our value is, and that's what we value in each other, because that's the point of you being a man, of course. So right, because just know this is nowhere on the internet. You can only hear this from me, literally, as a spirit, that Anubis is a sole creator of Atlantis. And Atlantis is not in the past. Atlantis, just like Mercury, is a simulation that is occurring right now. It is our worlds that we're building right now. This is a separate simulation. And the point is, all simulations, all light constructs are connected by feeling. And that feeling is the infinite eight that is the universe. Don't you love how simple I make this? So, and I love this because, again, this is all so subconscious. So I, as a spirit, am like flying around, especially as I'm smoking, and getting to bring down way more information, especially as I'm just, like, man, this podcast could low-key be 3 hours long. I know you would love that, wouldn't you? I really hope y'all are simmering trees when I'm here also simmering trees. If you're not, then that's cool, because it is just straight up a vibe, but it's also like more communal, as far as perhaps you being able to get what I'm saying more, because I just wonder if like one would understand what I'm saying more if they were smoking. But also that's literally probably just me as a pothead being a stoner, because obviously these are words, everything is literally just grounded. So it doesn't matter on that. But I think there we go, it's more cerebral for sure. The point of smoking weed is that you are getting more in your air element, even though it's grounding, because the point is you're becoming a stoner. So literally it's earth, but it allows you, that's why you grow at both ends. It's the perfect drug. Drug being a default word in my brain. Perfect plant, perfect substance. It's literally just a tree growing at both ends. So, yeah, like, just what an awesome grounding psychedelic. Like, it straight up is psychedelic. This is going to be a fun life. It's already been quite a wild ride. That's why this podcast could truly be 3. Like, this, man, this might have to be a 2-parter. Or I'll like come back to it, maybe like in a later episode. But I should just channel and like not get in my own way, I suppose. But I'm just observing how far this could go, and dang. Okay. So, I'm in love with Anubis, and Anubis is in love with me. And I'm so happy that he created a body with me in this world. And literally, like, if there's anything that stops me from killing myself, it is truly all the time and energy that Anubis has put into just literally spending time with me in this life. Straight up. He did not have to come in here as a Jack Russell Terrier. And he did not have to hang out with me. But he wanted to, of course. And like the whole point is me building that connection so I can communicate like this and like cry and stuff. And remember just how much I missed him and how much the ideas of white supremacy stopped my mind from being able to communicate with him versus where I am now, where we are Hermanubis, we are symmetry, we've been this. Atlantis and Mercury working together to create simulations that awaken spirits. So anytime I'm in a body, I'm on a business trip, or else I'm alone. All right, like straight up, I as Hermes am so happy alone, infinitely happy. We've already seen what happens when I step out of my space. I get chased. It's literally my name, because my spirit's like, hey, just be conscious of this. Just be conscious of this. Because it's kind of what happens when you are the god of wisdom, quote unquote, and like the messenger god. And it's like my karma as Hermes. Because it's like I chase wisdom, but the wisdom is knowing that you're infinitely powerful when you're alone. And the ST ability is you using your snake to coil into your own garden and create your own life, your own tree, and build your own simulations as a symmetry. And then that creates extra space for spirits to connect with you and for connections to happen in ways that you want. That simple. So my business as Mercury is me literally doing that, and doing that in a way that serves the universe, and doing that in a way that is then the communication that translates to me being the god of truth, so to say. Because it's just, of course, that's the point of Virgo and being the messenger god. Like, what's the point in relaying a message if it's not the truth? So the truth that I'm relaying ever is that spirits are creating life consciously. So whenever we get to a point in a simulation like this, where it is so overpoweringly ran by lies and people explicitly colonizing my creations that I shared for the ascension of the planet so that they can enslave the planet, then I get called here, and now I'm Chase Clarence Calloway. And now I find myself in a position of building the symmetry on the internet, knowing that the internet is a microcosm of the universe. We're all here doing our thing. And this is just how it's expanding in this simulation. All these simulations are simultaneous. They are, in fact, constantly being built upon the past. The idea that you could go into the past and change something so that the present isn't the present anymore is lost white supremacist stuff. And people, like, I'm hearing, like, people talk to me about it. I specifically have one friend who really likes the idea, but it's like funny because, and I haven't brought this up to him yet, but I'm about to soon, because this is our whole point. Like, we dissect like spiritual ideas. He's going to be on the podcast like soon at some point. Because he's saying like the past doesn't exist, but then in the same conversation, like in the same 5 minutes, low-key the same breath of saying the past doesn't exist, so we can go back in time and change it. And he's like simultaneously in love with the idea of creating technology to go back in time to change the past, while also saying that the past doesn't exist and there's only the now. It's hilarious because like half of his chart is Pisces. So that's just where I'm like, okay, that's like so dreamy. And then like he wraps it up with anything's possible with imagination. So I observe that And what I have to communicate right now is that is completely possible in his imagination. But I don't consent to that. None of the spirits that make up the cells in my body consent to that. And in general, this is why time travel or time manipulation like that is a fallacy. The idea that you as a spirit have already created life in a way that allowed you to accumulate memories in your soul individually means that that's unchangeable. No one can change the memories that you have absorbed into your soul. So to think that an individual outside of you then, right? Because think about this. Think about if you go through your life. So, okay, I'll make this about me. So if I'm here, let's say I'm doing a video, and this video in the future gets 5 million views. And it's a video of me talking about how spirits use numbers to architect reality, right? And it's very basic. And now the whole world is super happy back on the Tehuti level and back on the pyramids level, back on the ascension game of consciously knowing how numbers architect reality and how we can use these to communicate ourselves even better.